Hey, this is Mandy, and welcome back to my channel. This week in our What's for Dinner, we're going to have a charcuterie board, chili, and some delicious chicken and dumplings. So stay tuned. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. This is All Things Mandy. On this first night, I had been to Aldi, and I found this pre-made charcuterie board at Aldi for $10. I thought that was a really great deal, and so we just had that with some fresh grapes and pickles, and that was our dinner. The next night, I decided to make some chili. I had been craving some chili, so I chopped up or diced with my little dicer here an onion, one green pepper, and I had 2 stalks of celery left. So I just diced all that up and got it ready to go into my Dutch oven. I love using this dicer. It makes the cuts so perfect, and I actually found out about this from one of my favorite YouTubers, Mandy in the Making. She had shared this on her channel, and I just had to get one, and I am in love. So I will link her channel down below, and I will also link this chopper in my description box. So if you're interested in getting one of these, it is wonderful. I have had some comments where there are people commenting saying that they don't like to watch me prep and cut the veggies. I know that a lot of people know how to prep and cut veggies. I just share because maybe there's someone out there who hasn't seen a certain method or how to prep their veggies or things like that. And so that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to teach. I'm here to inspire, and that's my life calling, is to teach and inspire. So I love those of you that send positive comments. Positive comments always lead to positivity, and I love getting feedback, but just know that there's always a method to my madness. So here my vegetables are softened, and I'm going to add in my ground beef. It's already smelling amazing, and so I'm adding in that 1 pound of ground beef, and I'm going to kind of separate that ground beef and let it get to cooking and mix in with my veggies before I add in my garlic. And then I'll start adding in all the other wonderful things that are going to add to this delicious chili. I did have one jalapeno that was needing to be used, so I diced that up very small. So I added that into the chili mixture, and then I added some of this minced garlic just to add that extra flavor profile to the beef mixture. I probably added about a tablespoon of that. I just gave everything a quick stir. I did not drain my ground beef, and I was actually kind of mad that I forgot to do that, but it was not as greasy as if I'd had something that was less lean. It was okay. If I did this again, I would definitely drain my ground beef. I added in 1 can of regular Rotel tomatoes, and then I added in 2 cans of whole stewed tomatoes. I gave that a stir just to combine, and then I'm going to start adding in my beans. I also added in, I forgot to mention, a small can of just tomato sauce just to thicken up those liquids a little bit. I did forget to mention that earlier. So I added that when I added my tomato products in, gave that a stir as well, and now I will be adding in my beans. I decided to use 2 different types of beans. I used some dark red kidney beans, and I did not drain those. I left the liquids in, so I used one regular size can of dark red kidney beans, and then I used a larger can of pinto beans, and I did not drain those either. So once I added in my beans, I gave everything a stir, and we're gonna get this chili seasoned. So I had these corn tortillas, and I thought I was going to be extra. So I decided to take 3 corn tortillas and cut them up into strips and put them in my air fryer. I thought that would be a great topping for the chili. I thought it turned out great. It was a nice crispy topping, but my family said it wasn't necessary. So the next time that I did this, I probably wouldn't do it again because they just said the chili stood great alone. So I wouldn't call this a fail. I would just call this a preference. And my family said that the chili didn't need the corn tortilla strips. But this is what I did. So I took 3 tortillas, I cut them down the middle, then cut them into strips, put them on my air fryer tray, and I took some spray butter and sprayed them, and then I put them in the air fryer for about 5 minutes to make some crispy strips. All right, so here are my corn tortilla strips out of the air fryer. I've got my chili here, doing its chili thing. It's been simmering for quite a while. I think I simmered on the stove for about 45 minutes. I did add in a pack of chili seasoning, and I just let that kind of hang out while all those flavors melted together, and I was doing my corn tortilla strips. And this is the finished product. It's yummy. I'll show you what it looks like when we plated it up, but my family absolutely loved this. I added in a tablespoon of white vinegar at the end, and it turned out delicious. My family said this was the best chili that they had ever eaten. You've got to try this recipe. This is me plating up my chili. I have put a generous portion of the chili here in my bowl. I am going to top that with some sharp shredded cheddar cheese. And you can't have chili without the sour cream, right? So, like I said, this was extremely yummy. I did put some of the tortilla strips on top of mine, and I thought it was great. But, not necessary, because the chili alone stands up. Y'all, this is the best chili I've ever made. I really liked the flavors. I liked using the 2 different beans. I liked adding in the jalapeno. You'd be surprised, but the celery added a lot of flavor. So this was definitely a win, and this is definitely something that I am going to keep using. So for our next meal, we're gonna make a chicken and dumpling. So what I did first was I chopped a carrot and celery. And then I had some green onions that I had stored in the freezer, so I just added that to it just to use it up. I had a little bit of oil in my pan, and so I just added the veggies to my stock pot here just to soften them up. I'm going to add some garlic, but I'm going to wait just a few minutes. I found this rotisserie chicken at my grocery store for $4.99. It was cold, but that was fine because I was going to reheat everything, and I had a coupon for 50% off there. So that was a good buy. So I took the chicken off the bone and diced that up and added that to my pot. And so now I'm just kind of giving that a stir, letting the flavors combine. And now I'm going to add in my garlic. This was just a pre-minced garlic. I added about a teaspoon to that and gave that a stir just so those flavors could combine. I did not add salt at this point because I knew I was going to be adding chicken broth and I didn't want it to be too salty. So I just added some fresh ground pepper, and I thought that I would taste for salt later once I added all of my liquids. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 cans of cream of chicken soup. So I just added the cream of chicken soup, and I'm going to give that a stir. I wasn't crazy about the 2 cans of cream of chicken soup. I might actually next time do 1 can of cream of chicken and then either add in a can of cream of celery or a can of cream of mushroom. I don't know. So we're going to just kind of see how this turns out. But I did stir all that to combine. Next, I'm going to add a whole carton of chicken broth. You could do this with regular chicken broth. You could make your own chicken broth. You could use chicken bouillon cubes. This is just what I had on hand. So I added this entire container of chicken broth. And then I'm also going to add 2 cans of water. I'm not sure if this is going to be as much water as I'm going to need. So I'm going to let this simmer for a bit, and then I'm going to check for the liquid level, and I might add more water. Once I've added all of my chicken broth and water, I'm going to just stir that to combine. I'm going to place a lid on this, and I'm going to let this come to a boil and simmer for about 45 minutes. I just want all of those flavors to combine. And so after the 45 minutes, I have a can of Pillsbury graham biscuits. I got 2 cans because I wasn't sure if I was going to need 1 or 2. I was just going to eyeball it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to open 1 can of biscuits, and then I'm going to use a rolling pin to kind of flatten the biscuits. I didn't want my dumplings to be so huge, so I thought if I rolled them out that would make them thinner, and then I was going to cut them into small pieces. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take this whole first can of biscuits, I'm going to roll them out, I'm going to cut them in smaller pieces, and we'll see how many that yields, and we may or may not do a second can. So this is me stirring my liquid, and I'm just going to add these little pieces of biscuit right into the chicken mixture, and they're going to float to the top at first, and that's fine. But I'm just going to make sure to separate each of those little pieces, because if I just threw the whole blob in there, it would be one big blob of dumplings, and we don't want that. So I'm just going to keep adding my little pieces of biscuit, and we will see how it turns out. Once I added all of my biscuits, that 1 can was going to be plenty. So now I'm just giving that a stir. I just keep stirring every few minutes just to get those biscuits completely submerged into that hot liquid. And I learned a tip about thickening a soup like this. You take 1 packet of instant potatoes, and I didn't pour the whole packet. You can see I just poured a little bit, and I stirred that in, and that's a great thickening agent for a soup, especially if it's a creamy soup and not a tomato-based soup. So I just added in a little sprinkle of those instant mashed potatoes, and I'm just trying to thicken that liquid a little bit. And at this point, you can see that my dumplings have finally cooked, and they're kind of submerged in the liquid. They're not floating anymore. And so once I stirred that, I just kept adding a little bit of those instant mashed potatoes until I got the liquid, the consistency that I wanted for my chicken and dumplings. So once I had my liquid consistency the way that I wanted with those instant mashed potatoes and my chicken and dumplings, I just gave that a big stir, and I'm going to tell you, this was delicious. Very delicious. I was very pleased, and any creamy soup that you have, this instant potato trick is amazing. So once I got my consistency, the level that I wanted it for the liquid, this was delicious. I just topped with fresh cracked black pepper. I can't talk today. What's wrong with me? Okay, and some fresh parsley. This was delicious. Okay, so I found this Better Homes and Gardens cookbook, and this is actually from the 1953 edition. It's actually a reprint. That's why it's in such good condition. But I can remember growing up that my grandmother had one of these cookbooks. I can remember seeing it in her kitchen when we go visit. And when I saw this, I was like, yes, I wanted one of these cookbooks. It just makes me think of my grandma. And it's got all these tabs with different recipes. But the one thing that I thought was very interesting is it has these meal planning tabs. And you can like choose your meals, and it tells you the meat, the starch, the vegetable, and then like the salad portion, the dessert portion, and then nice to serve with it. And so I have loved, and then all these recipes are in here. This is a really cool cookbook, and it makes me very nostalgic thinking about my grandparents when they were young wives and mothers and doing all the cooking. So I am thinking about doing a video cooking from this cookbook with the recipes and the meal plans as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give 3 options, and I would like for you to comment below which option that you would like for me to show in my next video. So please like and subscribe. Please comment below and let me know which video you would like to see me do. Okay, so comment below on which of these 3 options you would like to see me feature on my channel. So I'm going to do one beef option, and I think that I'm going to go with the meatloaf because that just reminds me of my grandmother. So the meatloaf comes with a choice of scallop potatoes or French onion potatoes. I've never heard of those. Butter broccoli, peas and mushrooms, an orange endive salad or a sunshine salad, dried fruit compote, a banana cake, and spiced crab apples and chili sauce. So that's choice number 1, the beef option, meatloaf. Option number 2 is a pork option. I think I'm going to go with the baked pork chops. The choices for sides are whipped potatoes and gravy or corn stuffing, parsnips or green beans, prune and apricot salad, spiced pears, brownie a la mode, baked apples, relishes, and grape juice. So, baked pork chops, that's our pork option. For my chicken option, I'm thinking about the southern fried chicken with baked sweet potatoes or fluffy rice with sauteed mushrooms, spinach delicious or deviled beets, never heard of that, tossed green salad with Italian dressing or a perfection salad, watermelon wedges or lemon sherbet, refrigerator cookies, and French bread or spiced peaches. So that is our chicken option, southern fried chicken. So again, comment down below which recipe, if you would like for me to share from this 1950s cookbook. It's a vintage recipe. If you would like for me to share that, please comment which one you want me to share. And hey, this could be a new trend. So just let me know in the comments. So this week we had the charcuterie. We had the delicious chili, which was hands down the best. And we had the chicken and dumplings. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. I love knowing that my viewers like my content. So help me out. Give me the thumbs up and subscribe. See you next time. This is Mandy.